We are returning to the foundation stone of our Christian faith. This is a tangible truth. As in the walls of St. Mihály's main church, there are still the stones of the church built by Gisela Boldog. The history of Hungary and the light of Christianity are not two separate lines, but one line of the same thread. From the very beginning, when St. István had to make his decision on the great centuries of our people, the choice of Christianity was not only a change in religious direction, but a historical determination and personal decision. To belong to the Christian world and to build the Hungarian state is to leave the church behind. There is an old saying of Gisela Boldog that is still used today in his homeland. It goes like this: leave the church in the middle of the village. This is something that means that we should not fall into excesses, that we should not engage in things that we do not have enough strength for. But its original meaning may be that we should not let anyone else take the responsibility that the laws of God have put on the church built in the village. What is the point of attention? We should not let the direction that has been held by Christianity for 2,000 years be taken away from it. In Europe today, there is a desire to change what is old, to find out for ourselves and to define the principles of life and the moral order in which we would like to live, and to remove the representatives and partners of our ancestors' order of life from the village, that is, from the middle of our lives. In the past year and a half in Hungary, we have been the exact opposite of this. We have strengthened the communities whose order of value and order of life have held and preserved the Hungarian identity, and the Christian Hungarian life. This is what our basic law states. The protection of the Christian culture of Hungary is a duty of every state body. There is still much to do to ensure that this responsibility is fulfilled. But it is good to know and see that the Church has been serving among us without a break for 1,000 years, whether there is a tailwind or a headwind, whether there is wind silence, or whether it is necessary to steer the ship of the Church in storms. This service has placed the Veszprémi Czech Church in the middle of the city and has raised it above the city. This height helps us raise our hearts and raise our gaze to higher, more orderly goals. Everything that does not touch the cosmic dimension is transient, and everything that does touch it is not. It is not transient, but permanent, even eternal, that is, more orderly. And who would want their life to sink into the waters of the past? This is why we feel at ease when we raise our gaze to the Czech Church. Ladies and gentlemen, these walls, these towers, these stones saw the glory when the power of faith gathered armies capable of protecting the nation, and saw the destruction when foreign powers invaded our land. They saw when the power of faith revived the Hungarians, and they also saw when the message of the good news was heard in the world. They saw that in the 1950s, 30 priests of the Veszprémi Church were imprisoned and interned, and even the head priest was interned. They saw when the contractual orders were divided, and the social institutions of the church were state-owned. They saw when the seminary was shut down in 1951. They saw when the members of the Committee of the State Council of the Church, the ill-remembered pishpoks of Bajzó, put the Church under political supervision. The oppression of the nation was hand in hand with the oppression of the church. We must never forget this. We must not take the forces of the church and the Christian opposition lightly. Against our churches, agitating half-rebels, today's powerful Leninists, priests raping high-ranking Bolshevik freedom fighters, have once again rebelled in Hungarian politics. We must stand up for ourselves and against them in time. We will not give a quarter of an inch of space to the persecution of Christian communities in Hungary. Instead, we will continue our work of building the church and the nation. In the past decade, nearly 4,000 new churches have been erected in the Carpathian Basin, and more than 200 new Christian churches have been built. And we will not walk away from this path as we should, with our swords in one hand and our canals in the other. It is painful, but today, in the Christian Europe of the past, other winds are blowing. The continent, which was once a culture of building churches, has now become a civilization of church demolition. In Germany, 550 churches were demolished in 25 years, of which 160 were demolished and only 50 were rebuilt. In France last year, 1,700 churches were closed for the entire year, and demolition or sale of more than 5,000 buildings was a threat. The situation is similar in the Netherlands and in England. Thank God other winds are blowing here in Central Europe. Central Europe is holding out, standing firm again and again. Here they still know that if you leave Christianity, you will go home. Here they still know that there are things that cannot be ridiculed, that should not be put at risk, that should not be tried. Migration, raising children, families, national sovereignty. The Czech Republic was elected yesterday, and I read from the results that the Czechs are aware of this. We remember St. Adalbert, we remember János Hunyadi's Czech warriors, and we remember that on the fields of Mohacs, for 500 years, Czech soldiers defended Hungary and Europe from the invading armies. We are delighted with the victorious Czech patriots yesterday. And of course we see with relief that we can expect another victory in the clashes in Brussels. Ladies and gentlemen, Honourable Mayor, dear Westphalian Christian brothers and sisters, on behalf of the whole of Hungary, I thank the Westphalians for today's event. I thank them for their loyalty and service. At the same time, I recommend the government's alliance with the Westphalians for their future big and serious undertakings. With the success of the Westphalians, Hungary will always be prosperous. May it be so in the future as well. God bless us all. Hungary before everything else. Go Hungary, go Hungary.
In the last few minutes, you have seen and heard the speech of Minister Viktor regarding the re-sacrifice of the Westphalian St. Mihály Church. And now the chain reaction will begin, where we will hear live the results of the election in Hungary. Stay tuned for the rest of the evening. Goodbye and see you soon.